Oh dear God, Dante, your vision of hell is quite morbid. Oh God. Oh, what's up, writers? Just reading some stories about hell over here. Nothing, too evil and disgusting and whatnot. Yeah, obviously. But hey, how about you stop trolling on the internet and start experiencing some setting? My name's Chris Manico, and it's story time. What's up, writers? As you might know, my name is Chris Manico, and this is Storytime Episode 3. Now, what we're going to be discussing in this video is setting. And we all know what setting is. It's where and when someplace is happening. But even though that is true, there's actually a lot more than what you think. As the great Optimus Prime says, there's more than meets the eye. That went for character in our last episode, and it most definitely goes for setting in this episode. So in order for me to show you this, let's hit the drawing board and let's see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, let's take a look at what goes into setting. So as we all know, the setting is the time and place of a story. It consists of the terrain and the time period. But what most problem with writers, what they have is that they think that these are the only two things. What they forget to do is they forget to call, what we call it as, flushing out the setting. They forget to flush out the setting. Pretty much what this means is that there's actually a lot more that goes into setting itself. So we need to ask ourselves something. What actually goes in the setting? Well, what it actually consists of is this. So the things that go into setting are your obvious terrain and time period. Now what this consists of is the environmental, geographic locations, the landforms that take place there, the historical landmarks that take place there, such as if you're going to go on Capitol Hill for a story, or the White House, or you can set it on a plateau in some mythical land. Whatever you want to do, that is the terrain. Now the time period consists of if it's past, present, or future, as listed up here. This could determine how you write your story, whether you're writing it in the present or past tense. But if you wish to tell it in the present tense because it's currently happening at this moment, then feel free to tell it in the present tense. But the other things that go into it is where you flush it out more, such as the culture of a story. This consists of the government, the people, the language, the dance, pretty much anything dealing with the people of the setting or anything consisting of that sort goes into the culture. And this also helps create your characters more, speaking that there's an old saying, where you come from makes who you are. So that's why certain characters have certain personalities, because they came from a certain place that has that certain type of personality. And also the other thing that goes into it is the history. Now the history, of course, is the backstory of your setting. Speaking that characters have backstory, setting has history. Both of these things have a past before the story, and they are brought into what's happening currently now. They both are conflicting in that sort. You can have them do that. But basically, the setting of a story with the history consists of what happens before the story itself. And then the other thing that goes in the story, or the setting of a story, are the abilities. Now, why would we have abilities in setting? Well, let me tell you why we have abilities. Let's say you're writing a fantasy novel or a fantasy play, screenplay or whatnot, and you have a force that does magic of some sort. It has an aura of evil or goodness, and it strengthens your people. It strengthens your characters. That setting has that ability to do so. If the setting is at a well and it can heal people, that thing in the setting itself has that ability to heal people. Now, as we explained here, this basically goes into flushing out the setting. Now, for an example of this, we will go into George Orwell's 1984. Alright guys, so as I said in our previous part, our example will be 1984. Now, why are we using 1984? Well, this is the reason why. 1984, if you've ever read the book, it's very, very descriptive of the setting, and speaking that we're talking about setting, 1984 is a very good example. This little slogan right here is actually going to play into that, so we're going to explore why that is. So why 1984? See the title? Yeah. So why 1984? So we'll look at our terrain first, and the terrain is very dirty and there's a lot of wrecked buildings and whatnot. So the reason for the wrecked buildings is because Oceania, which is the land, basically, like their section, like their kingdom, I guess you can say, the government, is basically at war with two other nations. And because of the war, a lot of bombs are being dropped on their homeland, which causes a lot of people to die. So hence why there's a lot of wrecked terrain around. And also another thing is the time period that we want to discuss, because it might be confusing because the title is named 1984, the year it takes place. So we're all thinking that takes place in the past, when really the book was published in 1948. So it actually is a sci-fi novel. It's describing a totalitarianistic government which is in the future of that time, which lands right into our next part, which is culture. So the culture is a totalitarianistic government. For those who don't know what that means, it basically means the government has all the power, no one has rights. Imagine North Korea, only North Korea is a candy land compared to Oceania, the name of the government, the name of the country, basically you can say. Or as they would call it, super states. And the people are very brainwashed and they are clueless of like what's actually going on. So basically they are brainwashed with propaganda. They have this thing called Hate Week, and very few of them see what actually is truly going on, and they hate the government for it. But the others are so brainwashed that they love Big Brother, they love the government. And this goes right into the history where the government, the reason why they turned into Oceania, the totalitarianistic government, is because they wanted more power, just to have more power over the people. Which of course, it's a good why, but it's just, this is not, like, it's not a good place to live, obviously. Hence why it's a dystopian setting, which is why 1984 is such a great novel. It describes the dystopian setting very well, and which will also go into its abilities, speaking that we've covered all of this. So how do abilities play into this? Well, there's cameras set up everywhere, so the government themselves can control you. They see everything you do. You can get caught by the thought police and you won't even know it until like a month or a couple days later. And these other inventions that they have called telescreens, basically they watch you do everything. Whether you're taking a poop in the bathroom or whether you're taking a shower, they will see that. It's very disturbing. I would not want a telescreen in my house. I don't want them seeing me take my shower or taking my poops. Not sure about you guys, but that's just my personal opinion. So basically that covers the abilities, and it pretty much covers everything up here. What's the main point I'm trying to get to you viewers? Well, this is what it is. The main point. Treat all of your setting like it's a character of itself. Treat your setting like it's a character of its own. Why? Because technically everything that goes into setting also goes into character, vice versa. Everything that goes into character goes into setting. So what do I mean by this? Well, in character you have the backstory. Backstory, history, go one to one. You have the physical look of your character, you have the terrain. Physical look, terrain, technically the same thing. You have the abilities of the character and you also have the abilities of the setting. Abilities are the same thing. So basically, make your setting like it's a character of itself. Because everything that goes into character development goes into setting. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and comment. And writers, keep on writing. Keep on writing, writers.